Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I am joined by Mitchell. Mitchell, this
Good
is
evening.
your this is your player rating season review. Before we get started, Mitch, just
Hmm.
give me a quick summary of how you found the season before we get into it.
Um, I've enjoyed the season. It's been ups and downs, like with every season. But this season has been, a bit more ups than downs. Um,
Mm,
and the ups have been a lot higher as well. Which is great. It has been a good season overall. I think a lot of people have been saying it's been a shit season, and as negative as I am, I can't say it's been a bad season because it hasn't been a bad season because I still think, like 3 or 4 years ago, mate, we was fucking like banning it out every season in the
mm.
relegation zone and hoping that we don't get relegated that season. But we haven't this season. We've been fighting for top six, even top four at one point. So I've enjoyed the season, mate. It's been a good
Good,
season.
mate. Good, 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 good. This is your player rating, so let's get into it. Let's start off with this man, Lucas Fabianski. Give me your assessment of his season and a rating, please, mate.
I think the whole season, I think all the fans with a bit of common sense and knowledge have known that Fabianski is coming towards the end of his career, and also we've got a top class keeper in Aviola on the bench. We've known that all season, and I said from Newcastle, the first game, I said we need to start playing Aviola straight away, and I would have started Aviola at Newcastle, but it hasn't been like that. It's been a season where we're trying to integrate Aviola slowly into the team, and probably has deserved quite a few more minutes, Aviola. But when Fabianski's played, I think he's done very well this season. Overall, over the season, yes, the last 4 or 5 games, he's been a bit more inconsistent. Um, but overall, for the season as a whole, I think he's been very good, mate. And actually, gone under the radar as one of our best performers, really, if I think about it, in terms of consistently. So
Mm.
for that, I'd have to give him a 7, mate. For how good the season's been, for his performances. It's just recently his performances have let him down. Um, but he's played as well as he could have done. He's an old keeper now as well. Was he 37? Yeah, so I'll give him a 7, mate. I think people will say it's probably generous rating, but on the whole, as a whole season, I think I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to this man, Alphonse Areola.
Um, when he's played, he's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, you know, you can nitpick with every kind of player, little things they need to improve. The only thing I could say with Aviola, when he has played this season, it's only minor because it's his first season at the club as well. Um, is that well? One, first of all, I wanted Aviola to start more games, um, but he hasn't. And when he has started, my main problem with him, which I think he needs to improve, is his commanding of his box. I don't think he's quite as commanding as say Fabs. Um, I want him to be more confident when catching crosses, on set pieces, punching, because I think that's where, if anywhere, that's where his game lacks. His distribution is better than Fabianski's.
Yeah.
His reflexes and diving, to make saves,
Is he
he's
first
so
choice
much
for
more
you next
athletic.
year? Is he first
Oh,
choice
without a
next
shadow
year?
of that, if he signs,
Mm.
because I thought for some reason that we signed him, and it's
Mm.
come out last couple of days that our wages are still an issue, and we're still looking at players like Nick Pope. So we'll see. I would like us to sign Naviola. If he signed Nick Pope as well, I'll also equally be happy because I think Nick Pope is also outstanding
Mm.
and could do as good a job Aviola's done this season, if not better. Pardon me. Um, I'll give Aviola for time he's played. I'll give him a 7
Mm.
as well.
It's good. It's good rating, really. I think I went a bit higher than that. I think I went into an 8 because I think the Europa League campaign was down to him, like the way
So
he
because he
played.
didn't
But
play enough really for me to
mm,
give him a rate, to give him an 8.
yeah. Moving on though to defenders, and we'll start off with this man, Ryan Fredericks.
When he's same with Aviola really. Not the most gifted player. Obviously, Aviola is, but Fredericks has had when he's played, he's actually done the job. He's not been horrific in any games he's played. He started off a season before he got that injury at Man United. We played a couple of games. He played really well, I thought, especially at Man United. We drove forward through their defence and put a good assist to Lanzini. When he got the injury, I was a bit of a shame for him because I thought, he was doing well. And I've always liked Fredericks, not just a player, but as a professional. He gets on with Declan Rice as well. He's Declan Rice's best mate at the club, so it does help. It does help in terms of Rice staying here a little bit. Fulham want Fredericks and Masuaku. Yeah, I heard about that. Look, Fredericks, I'm happy for him to go now. But I will be sad because I still think he's a good squad player. It just does take a wage bill.
But when you've got Ashby,
4 right backs,
Ashby
exactly,
or him, yeah,
and Johnson and Soufal, then I do. When I think it like that, I don't mind. If we didn't have Johnson or Ashby or both, then I'd be like, we need Fredericks as cover for Soufal, really.
What are you rating him?
For when he's played, I'll give him a 6. I think a 6 for Fredericks. I think when he's played, he's actually done a decent job this season.
6 out of 10 for Fredericks. Moving on to this man, Arthur Masuaku, scored that wonder goal or luckiest goal ever against Chelsea. But how you assess him this season, mate?
Shit. No, I'm not holding any bars here. When he's played, he's been absolutely shocking. The few substitute appearances he's made, done absolutely nothing besides from Chelsea. Useless, mate. Absolutely useless. I'm not going to say anything here. 6, not in a fucking million years, mate. I'd give him a 4. 4. It's poor. Yes, 4 for me.
4 for you, mate, yeah? You caught me unawares there. Let's go to this man, Issa Diop.
Now, this is one where people are going to be thinking recently to go, oh my God, when he's played the last 3 games, the games that he's played in, he's been good, Mitch. How can you give him that rating? Well, I'll tell you why, because the 17 games before that, which I've exaggerated, the 17 it was about, I'd like to see how many Premier League games he's played. He was absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah.
And, I at one point did go overboard, and I hold my hands up when I'm on my Sun Fan TV. I did say I want him executed and beheaded, which obviously was a bit over the top. I get that, but at the time, that's how he made me feel, and a lot of West Ham fans feel as well, because everyone around me was just absolutely wanting to kill Diop, but it was so fucking bad at one point. And I think,
would you sell him? Would you sell him in the summer?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because mate, he's French. And for some reason, that inflates his price. If you're French, you get a little bit of inflated price and a bit of pace about you, which he has got. And that's about it, probably. But that does inflate your price. Yes, he had a decent end to the season, but overall, as a whole season, where we expect him to possibly push on along, partnering alongside Zuma this season, he hasn't. He's gotten worse. And for that reason, for me, in the summer, I'd sell him, and I reckon we could get a good, say, 12.5 million for him. I'll give him a 5.
He may. 5 out of 10. Moving on to this man, Craig Dawson.
Now, I'm not doing it for his expectations. I'm going to rate him on, just how I'm rating all the other players in terms of how they have performed, not the expectations. If it was expectations, I'd give him a 10 because I didn't expect him to do so well this season. But nonetheless, I'm still going to give him a high rating because he's still, for our level, been great this season. He has been great. We have. I do stand by this. I do think he's been lucky that we've played a certain way where we've sat back, so that when balls have, gone up to us, Dawson doesn't have to run them. But Dawson ain't caught unaware much. And when that has happened this season, like against Broja, for example. There's a couple other games where I forgot to mention, but Broja on the 2 occasions when he came up against him, and we pushed a bit high up the pitch because that's what we had to do to control the game against Southampton. They pinged some balls over the top, and Dawson was really caught his heels. So the way we've played this season in the other games has really helped him. But when he has played in those other games, he's been exceptional, and he's made the most of that because he's got no pace at all. And he knows that, which is why
But would you be
he's very clever.
disappointed though? Would you be disappointed though, Mitch, if he left this summer? Because I wouldn't be
Yeah, mate,
disappointed.
I
I
would.
wouldn't. I disagree on that. I look at him and think you got rid of him and got in a quality centre half alongside Zuma.
Mm.
Then I think Dawson is what he is. He's a backup player who's come in and done amazing. But
Well, then it's good to have a backup player in the squad, though, ain't it?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that. But if we're going for top six, like next season, you need top six players. And for me, he's not a top six player. Dawson.
Yeah,
I think he's done great.
He don't start,
Yeah.
but he's good for. We need a squad depth. We've all been saying it this season.
Yeah.
And this is where we're going to come on to later, where people have been cutting me off on Twitter about Souček and that. So, how would you sell him when you could be used as squad depth, for example, at the bare minimum? And which I will come on to. But the difference with Dawson is, if it was to sell him, he'd go for absolute peanuts, mate, wouldn't he? He's older as well. His wages ain't that much. He's got a great professional attitude, and he's good for those. We're not heavily equipped in the centre back department. They're all injury prone, all of them really. Dawson ain't really injury prone, but the rest are. The rest are all quite injury prone. So for that reason, I would keep him in the summer, and I think he's had an exceptional season by our standards and by his standards even more so. I'll give Dawson an 8.
Oh yeah, 10. Moving on to this man, Ben Johnson, comes in October for Cathal. When Cathal got injured, he was really good. Got injured against Chelsea, and then that's it basically.
Yeah, he had a very good first, I think, month and a half it was. Came to side, done well going forward, actually. He scored a good goal against Villa, showed more of his attacking side of his game, really getting forward, defending well as we all know he can do. And then he got the injury. The other right backs came in for him. I think it was so far Fredericks, a bit of rotation there. And he really struggled when he came back in, because going forward, it wasn't like the same at the start of the season where we were scoring loads of goals. We were really struggling to score goals and break teams down. And a lot of it was because Johnson, when the ball went to the right hand side, Johnson was absolutely clueless. As Soufal been a lot this season, where he's really struggled to go forward.
Has he been better left side than right this season?
I don't think so. No. No, I just think going forward on the left, he's even worse. Like when he goes forward on the left side, he's like a fucking deer in headlights. You don't know what to do. Defensively, he's just good on the both sides, but he's probably slightly better going forward on the right side because he can whip those early balls in.
I agree with that.
Yeah, he's had a decent season, and I got cut off as well months ago saying I don't think he's a future West Ham. In terms of the right back position, I think we can do better than him. He's good as a squad player, but I don't see him ever getting to that level where we want to see players at West Ham. As at right back, he could possibly do it in a different position, like in a back three, if we do choose to go down that route. For me, as a right-sided, wing back or right back, not for me. But he's done all right this season. Not too bad when he's played. I'd give him in between 6 or 7 here. If I've given Fabianski a 7, I'm going to have to give him a 6. I'll give him a 6
out of 10. Moving on to this man, Angelo Ogbonna got injured and was out for the rest of the season. I think he got injured against Liverpool. I thought he was brilliant at the start of the season.
He was.
And once we got injured, that's when we started to sort of fall apart in that middle part.
Zuma and Ogbonna together at the start of the season were my dream duo, and I've always absolutely loved Ogbonna. I've always called him the Og Monster, just whenever I've seen him. I don't know, just a big lump. And it makes me emotional when I see him. I just think he's such a beautiful man.
He's Italian, mate. What do you expect? Them Italians are just like unbelievable.
I just want to I just want to kiss him. He's happy as well all the time, isn't he? He's just always happy. And I absolutely love Ogbonna. I love his professionalism and what he's done for his career. And I hope he goes down as a West Ham hero, really, in terms of the Hall of Fame, because he's been here for so long now, mate. He's been here for the same time as a lot of other players, but he's been so great. And I think at times, I was going to say that he captained the team, but I don't think he ever has done.
No, he's been here a long time. I think if you've got a choice between Cresswell and him, to say looking at a player who's been here the longest, and I think Bonner's done more than Cresswell.
Oh
If that
yeah,
makes sense.
100%, mate.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, was it either last year or the season before? He was my
Yeah.
Ham of the year. I think it might have been last year actually.
It was last year during COVID. I thought he was absolutely first class. He got injured against Man United away, I think it was. That killed us. Do you know what
And
I
this
mean?
season
What do
when
you
he
rate?
started off, it's a shame he didn't obviously kick on, but because of the injury. See, I'll give him a 5, and that's purely because he's only played a handful of games, mate. So I can't really. But he's played so well, but yeah, that's all I can say, really, mate.
5 out of 10. Moving on to this man, Kirk Zuma. He's been in court today, but he's in Mitchell's court today. What are you rating him, mate?
And I'm not playing him guilty. That fucking bitch that revealed the whole story. Anyway, that's another story. Zuma has had a very good season. He came back from the little cat disaster really well.
Yeah.
Came back and he looked like he really wanted to prove a point. In that little spell though, his brain kind of switched off where he was hoofing balls out every time the ball came for him for throwing. And we spoke about that.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of cut. That's kind of, he's kind of gone back to his old self now where he's not doing that anymore. But it was a weird little spell that.
I thought he was brilliant though after that.
He was brilliant. It was absolutely exceptional. And to be fair, it was like he had a point to prove, really.
Yeah.
But still, though, before that, I still thought he was exceptional, mate. I still thought it was very good.
I think the difference is with it, though, Mitch, is that after it, he's got the whole world against him. He's got literally everyone. He's got the press. He's got actors. He's got UFC fighters. He's got everyone who wants to kill him, basically. But he still played pretty damn well for West Ham, even under that pressure.
Oh, 100%. Ogbonna is never going to play for us again. I completely disagree. He will play for us again. That's a very strange thing to say. Anyway.
What are you rating him?
8. I'll give him an 8 as well.
Solid 8 out of 10.
Very good first season for Zuma.
Moving on to this man, Aaron Cresswell. Take it away, Mitch.
As I said, I think the first 3 games into the season, I said this man is a liability. I got absolutely crucified for it. I can just fucking tell this bloke has always been a liability, just purely because he's erratic. He's not quick enough. He's not strong enough. And I've always thought he's been lucky that he's got the players around him to kind of really have that work rate, like Rice, Fornals and Benrahma down the side, really covering him with the work rate. And plus, the fact we sat back as well, which really helps him this season in terms of not being caught. Because if he fucking played in a, say, City or Liverpool team, he'd been exposed massively. Or a side that wants to keep possession in the other team's half a lot more. I've just, he hasn't had too bad a season overall. I'll be fair. I've just always seen him as a liability.
But the last month,
I'm bringing him down. I am marking him down for this because the last month he's been, those 2 fucking red cards, mate. I will never forget that. I will never forget that because
I agree.
I've never seen to get to a semi-final before. And he ruined it for me. And I wanted to murder the bloke. Honestly, it sounds horrible, but I was so angry with him. And it wasn't like he's a 21-year-old player who's had a good season, and you thought, it's unfortunate. He's been here at the club now. I think 8 years.
I think what it is, it's because he committed the same crime twice in 28 days.
Exactly.
I think that's why
he's 31 or whatever he is. So there's no thing for it. He hasn't been anywhere near as efficient going forward this season. He's getting slower and slower season to season. He's getting less and less sharp, slowly but surely. And for me, he does need a place in the summer. But when he has played, he's not done too bad. He's still got a few amount of assists. Scored a good free kick goal as well. I'll give him a 6. I'll give him a 6.
6 out of 10 for Cress. Moving on to this man, Coufal, Vladimir Coufal. Take it away, Mitch. I know what's coming.
Well, massively disappointed by Coufal this season. It was a player I didn't see coming, having a poor season.
Yeah.
Aside from the man which I suspect might be coming up next. May or may not be. I did not see him having a bad season this season. And for me, he's had a poor season. Game in, game out. The games he has played, he's been very, very inconsistent, very erratic. Brighton game on Sunday was one of the best games I've seen him play this season. Norwich as well away the other week was very good. He's a player that works very well when he's got lots of space to run into, and he can really work the space and get into space. But when he's in tight areas against top sides, he absolutely shits himself. He really does. And because of that, in lots of games this season, big games, he's really struggled, unfortunately. And I've been disappointed. I still think he's a decent right back. I would potentially like us to look into the right back position in the summer, but it's not a priority, so I wouldn't be too bothered if he still plays for us as a starter next season, because I still think he can do a decent job. But he's not the youngest player as well. I think he's 29 now. He just needs to calm himself down a bit. This season has been very, very erratic. And I'll say crackhead Kofa. I've always said that line because it's like he's on the gear. But he's not been great. I'm not gonna lie. I'll give him a low 6, and that's been kind, very kind.
Low 6.
Oh no, I'm giving him a 5 actually. He's not been average. He's been poor. 5. Yeah.
He's changed it. 5 out of 10.
The games he's played, if you think about it, he's been good in 1 in 3 this season, I'd say, and that's a 5 rating for me.
Before I move on, please do smash a like on the video. It goes a long way. It really helps me out. And if you're new around here and you're watching for the first time, please do subscribe to the channel. This is the one that is coming up now.
Yeah.
Thomas,
I really wish I could cover all the tweets on Twitter, which I've received today about Souček. I said I want to say really good, fair opinions about Souček and why people still rate him. I got some comments from people. You know what? I just, it really winds me up. I just can't explain myself, because I could write a 600-word essay for like the University of Oxford on Souček and why he should be starting for West Ham. So if I couldn't write, because then I'd want to write more and more, and I just would be going absolutely crazy. I'd be raking my brains, and I'd be on Twitter all day arguing with people. So I just couldn't be asked. But I will do it now. I will talk about it now. So I'm going to start from the beginning. Start of the season, I said, and I'm going to be honest here to my pals, when I said Krau came in, I thought Krau is going to have a good season. I'll be honest, he hasn't, obviously. I said Krau is going to take over Souček's role, because I just don't think Souček. I said this season we're going to push up more. We're going to try have more possession of the ball. We're going to try and change the way we play. I reckon Rice is going to improve more and more, and he has done. And I think that's going to really sharp Souček, and it has done. It's exactly done that. Obviously, I was wrong about Krau, but Souček has still been given so many chances this season. He's been given so many games, and he still hasn't kind of got into a rhythm this season. Like when he has played, Souček has been bad, but still effective. So, and this is all I hear. Like, the covering the ground thing infuriates me. Someone
said to me a long time ago in this chat. This is why I love doing this channel, because I have people like in the chat, and someone, I can't remember who it was as their name, they put in my chat, Souček covers the ground, but Declan Rice runs harder. And that is a valid point. Mate. You can cover the ground as much as you like, but if you're doing nothing with it, then I can understand your frustration. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can I put this? Where does he go next year? Because it's looking like Moyes might even get rid of him.
If he got a really good offer, then I would sell him, but we won't. I don't think we will.
Yeah.
So I've never said we should sell him. If a good offer came in, I would.
Yeah.
If I was manager, I'd think about it, because I think if we got a good amount of money for him, there's so many better options we could get in.
Yeah.
To replace him, and I think that's what people forget. People think, "Why would you sell Souček?" I'd sell Souček because I'd replace him. I'm not just selling him; I'd replace him with someone that is so much better and so much more suited to the way we play. And Moyes knows it. Moyes has said himself that he's not been good enough, and that he's not deserved a new contract. And that says it all. How the fuck can you say he's had a good season? So Moyes himself is deliberating whether to sell him. And after a really good season last season, I'll tell you why, because he's been shit. We spoke about it on Sunday. He had a 57 pass accuracy on Sunday. It's embarrassing. And this ain't just then. It's game to game after every fucking game. I look, it's 57, 64. Oh my God, he's at 70 marks a day. Fucking world record for Souček.
And
But
then
he never goes above that. It's embarrassing, mate.
And then when you look at Rice and his pass accuracy, he's 94%.
And you wonder why. Because Souček don't even pass it forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the frustration. I know. Listen, you've convinced me this over the last sort of 10 months. Ever since I've done this channel and I've had you on this channel doing the play ratings, and we've done other shows and everything, you have literally convinced me that there's more to it with Souček that people are not seeing, and I think people are starting to understand now that Souček is basically found out in a way.
He's been found out, and I'm sorry. I think the fan base, in terms of believing this man is a good player, is the most craziest thing our fan base has ever brought up. And I still see some of our fans think he's a good player. I don't get it. He's played one good game this season. That was Watford. Good game. I'm not talking about games where Souček's been better than usual, because there's been a couple of them. I'm talking about good games where I've gone, Souček has had a good game.
But he has scored vital goals this year, hasn't he, Mitch? Like Seville, he scored that goal.
He has, but mate, he gets in the box. If you just stand there in the box all the time, you're going to score goals every now and then.
Yeah, I know.
If you're that tall, you know, you could stick. But if you could stick Peter Crouch alongside Declan Rice, he goes forward. He'd score as many goals as Souček, if not more.
I know what you're saying. I know. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Like if he's in the area.
The covering ground thing is, it's just the biggest load of bollocks I've ever heard. Because it covers loads of ground, because all he does is run into the box, which is a lot of ground as it is, and then runs back. It's not like he's covering the pitch side to side and sweeping up and making tackles and interceptions. He's just running forward and then running back. And in that time, he's not making many interceptions or tackles, especially nowhere near compared to Rice. He shits all over him in that department. Someone got the stats up for Souček over the season. I think it was yesterday or the day before, in terms of his dribbles per 90, his pass completion per 90, his percentiles all down the list, and all of it was in the red mark, all of it. And I was just there thinking, I'm not surprised. And this is the thing: when Souček gets the ball, no one is ever confident he's going to do something. I never think, okay, what's going to happen here? I'm the exact opposite. When he gets on the ball, I think it's game over.
I think you're going to target him on the opposite side. They look at Souček and go, right, you can't get near Rice because Rice is excellent. He can
exactly that.
Do you know what I mean? I think they look at Souček. I remember, I can't remember the game. I think it was Brentford at home this season when we lost 2-1. And we had Declan Rice going forward and Souček sitting. And they knew exactly what they was doing against Souček. Just smothered all over him. And then Mbeumo and Tony was having a field day running on our goal. So I can see what you're saying. What would you rate him for this season, though, Mitch?
So, and just the last thing, I'd rate him as a 4. Maybe people say that's harsh. He's not been good enough. He's not been good. He's been shit. In 80% of the games he's played, he has not been good enough this season. And if you was to go back game by game, if you really cared that much about Souček, if you wanted to go back game by game and have a look, I can guarantee you I'm near enough bang on.
Yeah.
And the last thing I will talk about Souček, because I don't want to blabber on about him too much, because I could go on about it all day. The last thing I want to cover is the apparent change in roles, that Rice has gone forward more, which is why Souček has struggled. It's the biggest load of fucking shit I've ever heard in my life. And that also winds me up as well, which I haven't brought up. But 4 probably is a bit. Anyway, he still gets into the fucking box. It's just that he don't score as many goals. And Rice ain't jumping in the box every now all the time. Rice is always still deep. He's sort of like he goes to the wing every now and then to channels to kind of help out with play. But he's not like he's driving into the box for headers and getting to the box for like scoring tap-ins all the time. He's barely ever doing that. He's done that a couple of times in Europa League games, but to say him and Rice have swapped roles, it's an absolute joke.
Because so it's a 4 out of 10. Just let it go.
It's a 4 out of 10.
Just let it go.
All
Just
right, we'll
let
leave
it
it
go.
there. We'll leave it there.
Get
We'll
out.
leave it there.
Get out.
Get it. Oh yeah.
Go on, Mitch. Do your.
Get it. Get it.
That's Mitch saying about Souček, mate, about him getting out. Moving on to this man who we definitely don't want to be getting out, and that is Declan Rice. Give me your assessment for him, mate.
He's been good. He's been very good. I'll give him a 9 straight up. My ham in a year. Not Bowen, even though a lot of people will say Bowen. I just think consistently, game to game, he's been the best player for us. Bowen's had a few iffy games, for example, Sunday, whereas Rice still was probably the best player on the pitch, for example. And for me, that is why Rice deserves ham in a year. I'd probably give him I could give him a 10. You know, if he scored more goals, I'd give him a 10. I'm still going to give him a 9 because there's still areas to improve. His shooting is a bit to be leaves a bit to be desired at times compared to other players like Rodri, who scores quite a few good goals. If Rice could add more goals into his game like Rodri does, where he scores, decent long range goals and that, then he'd be definitely in consideration for the best in the world in defensive midfield. He still is already, but that one would really cement it if he was. So for me, he's been exceptional. I'll give him a 9. There's nothing more I can say, really, mate. He's been absolutely brilliant.
I think I'll give him a 10. I said, without Declan Rice, I don't know where we'd be. That's what I think. When I done mine late the other night, and I think I said, listen, if we ain't got Declan Rice, West Ham don't finish anywhere near 7th, in my opinion. So, yeah. Moving on to this man, Nikola Vlasic. First season at the club. Explain to me what's gone wrong there, mate.
I'll tell you what's gone wrong. He's not a good of a footballer, James. And all the people that still just want to believe, he's not been given the chances. Oh, look at Fornals, Benrahma, look at Bowen. They needed time to settle in. I'll stand by this. They all showed, aside from Fornals, to be fair, but Fornals didn't turn out to be that good anyway, and I'll stand by that as well. Benrahma and Bowen, when they started, as soon as they played the first game, they showed something about them. Yeah, they weren't the finished article, what they were now, especially Bowen, but they showed something. They still popped up with assists, goals, and that. But Vlasic is the most boring attacker I've ever seen. He don't take anyone on. He don't take long range shots. It doesn't mix it up with creative passes. I'm sorry, he's so boring, mate. So boring. And if you want to make the argument that it's because he's not playing his natural position, it's an absolute load of bollocks, mate. Because you still have to show something. You can't say he's not playing his right position because you still see quality wherever you play. If Rice was to play on the right wing, it's not his position. He wouldn't be as good, but you still see qualities in him where you go, this boy's a good player. I've not seen that with Vlasic. I've not seen enough for Vlasic on the left wing when he's played there to go, oh my God, he'd be great as a central player. And for the price we paid for him.
Mitch, do you think that he's had enough games to show something? Because when I done it the other night,
he's probably deserved a few more games.
I turned around and said he played in January because Benny weren't there. He was at AFCON. He's played in Europa League. He's played the League Cup. He's played in FA Cup. He's played in games, but he hasn't, for me, expressed himself enough to warrant starting games in big matches. That makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. In that respect, he's been given enough game time to show something. Moyes ain't the mug. He knows. I've been impressed with Moyes in the last month in terms of, especially Sunday, saying we were shocking against Brighton. I'm worried for us, and that speaking out about Souček, saying he doesn't deserve the contract. He's no mug with the senior players. He's managing them well, and he knows what he's talking about. So I'm not going to say he deserves more game time because Vlasic has been given his fair share of the whip, and he sees him in training every day. He's not done enough. I would sell him in the summer, because he's okay squad depth, and I think being an okay squad depth kind of player, with the amount of money we've paid for him, if we can recoup a decent amount of money for him, say 15 million or more, I'd be well happy because I think if we was to go into the Championship, sign a young player for 15 million, to replace Vlasic as that kind of squad playing role, we could do a lot better than Vlasic, I think.
We rating him.
I'll give him it's a 4 or 5 here. I have 4. I'll give him a 4.
4 out of 10
for the price as well. Yeah, just very underwhelming. Very disappointing. Probably actually the most disappointing player of the year. Actually, I know I said to you the other day Benrahma because I expected a bit more from him. But for me, Vlasic actually, I did expect Vlasic to do all right. He's probably been my most disappointing player.
Moving on to this man, Pablo Fornals. What's your assessment on him this season?
Very inconsistent, extremely inconsistent. Really needs to work on his finished article because people say his passing's great and that's his game and that's his craft. But it clearly isn't when, at the moment, 2 out of 3 games he's playing, his passing's horrific. Brighton, his passing game then was absolutely shocking. It was like probably the worst on the pitch, even worse than Souček's, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe not, because he had 64 pass accuracy, so still higher than Souček's actually, which is embarrassing. Yeah, but he had a good start to the season. Like Leicester comes to mind. I remember Newcastle when he played the ball over the top to Kofa, which he crossed the ball. I don't know why that came into play then, but that was a really nice pass.
Liverpool, I think he was his best game.
Exceptional. A couple of decent games in the second half of the season, but besides them, a couple really not been good enough for me. Very slow in terms of when we go forward, and he's the furthest forward. He really struggles.
What's he got to improve on next year, though, Mitch? For you, because I don't think he's
got to become a top player. I think he's an alright player, and he's got a level which he can reach, which ain't too much higher than where he's at now, really. If he can just really focus on his passing consistency and his first touch, then I think he can do a decent job at West Ham. Maybe not as a guaranteed starter, but definitely as a good squad player or in the midfield 3. But he does need to improve his consistency in terms of his passing. I don't see him as an attacker or an attacking player going forward or running through, because he's just so slow. And I think with a decent work rate that he's got, he's probably better in the midfield and really just kind of progressing the ball forward from midfield to attack. But he's just too slow, mate, and it really winds me up. He's had an alright season, not great, and again probably just a bit disappointing. For him, I would say 5, but in terms of overall for the team, which is what I'm basing it on, I'd give him a 6. For the season he's had, I'd give him a 6.
6 out of 10 for Pablo Fornals. Moving on to this man, Manny Lanzini. Take it away, Mitch.
Lanzini. Well, from the first third to the second third of the season, that little spell we had, he was very good, mate. I'm good, thanks, Scott. Had that little period, especially the Palace goal was absolutely world class. The City goal, my goal of the season personally. Looked like the Lanzini of old come back, and then he just kind of, his attacking game really dropped off in the last third of the season. And since then, he's been a player that's really struggled to do anything going forward. He's not getting forward as much. He's sitting a lot deeper, which I think he's better at doing anyway. But Moyes still plays him as that attacking player, but he just doesn't get forward enough. He's got a little bit of acceleration about him and that instant speed, but then after that, he's so slow and he gets bullied. He's like, Sunday, he was a little bitch. The Brighton midfielders just ragged him about like a fucking episode of Blacks on Pornhub. It was embarrassing. And he's very weak. He's very weak. And Fornals and Lanzini can't play together. Exactly what you said there. I know you love that. And fair, you actually, you're the one that brought that up, actually. And you're bang on about that.
They're too similar, mate. That's the problem with them. And what it is
Yeah.
with Lanzini, I find that he's good for like 20 minutes. He's a good if we're going to control the game towards the end of the game. He's a perfect player to bring on because you pick the ball up, he can find passes and all that. Starting games and all that, he's just not for me. It's just not for me. I love him.
I think it's the poorer sides where they set off us more.
Yeah.
When he receives a bit of pressure and players get a bit more physical with him, and he's been pressed, it does get ragged about. I'd give him the same rate as Fornals because he's had some very good moments this season, but unfortunately, like Fornals, been unfortunately too inconsistent. It's not like Fornals where he can improve because he's getting older now. You know, he does like a little injury, unfortunately. Yeah, he's good on the ball in terms of his first touch, but besides from that, he's not really shown enough in the final third of the season to warrant a good rating. So for me, yeah, 6, same as Fornals.
6 out of 10. Moving on to this man, Mr. West Ham himself, Mark Noble.
I'm doing this neutrally. I'm not going to do it, because it's his last season or anything like that. I'm going to do this neutrally. Noble hasn't done anything this season. He's had a couple games where he's played, substitute appearances.
I don't know, Mitch. I don't know. Against Watford away, when Rice was out, he come in, he's shown up.
He's done well. But then 2 games later, we played Kidderminster away, and he was absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah, true.
And not just embarrassing. I went him and Crow in the midfield. I went to run the pitch myself and slide tackle to both of them.
Yeah, I know. But what about like recently though? I think he's been all right this season.
He has been all right, especially recently. Like he's kind of stuck to what he's okay at, really, at his older age, and he knows that now. Nobes, absolutely, much love for Nobes. For the season, I'll give him a 5.
I think I'll give him a 6. I think because of just it was him. But I
in terms of purely performances based, I think I'll give him a 5.
I think this one's going to be short and sweet. Alex Crowell.
Short and sweet, a player which I've expected lots to come good from him. He had a shaky Euros, and a lot of the Czech fans said he wasn't too good, but he's more of a player that has, where I watched him, had games where he was very good and then games where he was very bad. But I think under Moyes, he could have come good with his consistency. I still believe he deserved a bit more game time, especially during the start. But obviously it doesn't happen. But he hasn't helped himself when he has played. His first game, he done all right, to be fair. I think it was against Man United.
That's it, League Cup,
didn't really get a fair crack until the Kidderminster game where he started. And a game where I expected him to really shine.
He played Zagreb, though. Played against Zagreb and didn't do anything.
Yeah, fair play. But the real game where I expected him to go to Kidderminster, which is make or break game, I did say at the time, was Kidderminster away. And it was absolutely horrific. Against a non-league team, Conference League North team. It wasn't. That's It's 4 divisions down, mate. It's embarrassing.
It's about 6. No, 6. You've got National League,
Championship, and League 1, League 2, National League North. Yeah, 5. I feel a bit sorry for the kid. Because he's taking pictures and that of West Ham and that, and with his missus and family, all smiley. But deep down, I think he's hurting. Bless him. He's going to go back now, and I wish him a good career. Everyone's forgot about him, mate. That he won't be playing for West Ham again. It's crazy, isn't it? We just all forgot. But I don't really care though. His one hasn't worked. I'll give him He's done nothing at all, really. I'll give him a 3, I think, mate.
3. I think I'll give him a 1, mate. But moving on to this man, Saeed Benrahma. We're coming into the attackers now.
James, could you give me 2 minutes? My mouth's really dry, and I'm going to start struggling to talk in a minute. Do you mind if I get a drink? If that's all right.
Yeah, go on, mate. Go and get a drink.
Cheers. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Mate. I'll have a look at the comments while you go and get a drink. He had a stinker at Kidderminster. Yeah, I agree. Noble should have known where near the under 23 teaching him to go sideways and back. Yeah. Benny, good, bad, and the ugly. 7. God, Trode, you are harsh, mate. That's me. It's going to be interesting to see what he thinks about Benny. I've got to admit. But let me know what you think in the chat about Benrahma. I think I gave him an 8 the other day. I think he's done all right this season. I think he's been harshly treated in certain games, but I think he's also played poor in certain games. So yeah, let me know what you think in the chat. Where else we got? Let's have a look. Any people are too protected over Lanzini as he's has good ball retention. Like Fever says, 20 minutes at the end of the game is perfect role for him. I agree, mate. I agree. I want him to stay Lanzini, but for me, I just don't think him and Fornells play well together. I've always said that. They played one good game together, and that was against Lyon away. And that was a game where they all played well together. But after that, I can't remember the last time they played decent together. I really can't. So it'd be interesting to know what you think. Adam's getting his comment in ready for Benrahma. 7 for Benrahma. Has been good in spells, but expect him to take it to the next level next season. Interesting. Would you play Benny ahead of Lingard on the left if you had to pick only one? I'd play Lingard, but I just feel that Benny's been harshly treated this year, though, Trojan. I've got to be honest. He scored 8 goals. He's got X amount of assists. He's the most productive player, or he's the third most productive player at West Ham behind Bowen and Antonio. He's got to have some credit, surely. But Mitchell is back after his mid-session interval, and we're going to get back into it, and we're going to start off with him, Saheed Benrahma.
Oh, that's a good point for you, really, to just kind of jump in there, have a little bit about Benrahma. Yeah, a good little rant about it.
Please smash a like on the video, people, before we get started. Talk about Benrahma, mate.
Benrahma. Disappointing for me this season. Oh, shit. And I say that openly. I expected more from him. Had a fantastic start to the season, and everyone was saying, who needs Lingard when you got Benrahma? And I thought, let's calm down a bit. It's only the start of the season. What Trod has just said there is absolutely bang on. The stats paint a good picture, but it's still been very frustrating. Yes, he's come, but the goals and assists where the goals and assists have mainly come. Have mainly come. Sorry, mate. Have mainly come at the start of the season, and since then he hasn't really kicked on. He hasn't really got games where he scored 2 goals, like say a goal in each game for like 3 games.
Has he been treated right though, Mitch? In your opinion?
At times, no. He has been substituted. I think more than any other player at West Ham. I think it was
because I remember games this season off the top of my head. I remember the Brighton home game. We're 1-0 up. He's probably having one of the best games he's played. Bang, substituted again. And there was other players this season that have been worse than him, and they've still managed to stand a pitch like a Souček, like an Antonio, etc. So
I get that. You still got to stay professional.
Yeah.
You're never bigger than the club or the manager.
That's
right.
So
if fans don't see it, you've got to take a pinch of salt and just do the best you can. Your performances will always speak. Moyes ain't stupid. Yeah, it was a bit unfairly treated by Moyes, especially a certain time. I think it was February.
Yeah.
But he's done all right. He's done all right. He's had a decent season, but I hope next season he can kick on and do better. Hopefully get a bit more consistency. I think it's purely down to nerves. I think he's really lacking confidence. And hopefully next season it will come. As you said, I think he's better centrally, just behind the striker or as like an inside forward. I don't think purely on the wing by the touchline he can do too much, because his crossing is still one of the worst I've ever seen at West Ham. His crossing is absolutely horrific. For a winger, I've never seen anyone so bad at crossing. And it does sound a bit over exaggerated, but...
What do you rate him, Mitch?
I'll give him a 6. I can't give him a 7. He's just been too inconsistent for me.
Moving on, before I say something I regret.
I wouldn't say he's had a good season, though, James. I think there's been a lot of games where he's just...
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I look at it different, yeah? I look at it that the games he has played, right, where he's been involved, especially at the start of the season, he was good. He saved us in Genk. He's had to deal with Ramadan. He's had to deal with AFCON. And I remember going
As is
back.
every African player.
Yeah, I know, but when West Ham are not having to deal with Vlasic and other players, and then people on social media are saying we need Ben Rama back, and then when he comes back, he does one bad pass, everyone's on him. I find he's becoming like a new Haller, in my opinion. He's like getting scapegoated.
Don't compare him to Haller.
Mate, he's getting scapegoated like Haller, like every time, mate. Every time he does something wrong. And we've discussed it on this channel multiple times.
Mate, Haller didn't get enough stick, in my opinion. He deserved more stick, Haller, at this time for West Ham.
But I just think, like, the other day, for instance, the Brighton game the other day, before we move on to the other players, they was all, a few of them were really bad. You don't hear nothing on social media, nothing on Twitter, nothing about any of certain players, Souček, Fornals, name two. If Ben Rama's in that team on Sunday, Mitch, you know I'm going on there. Bang! Ben Rama's this, Ben Rama's that.
Yeah.
And I feel sometimes this kid gets a lot of stick for no reason, really. You know what I mean?
I agree, James. You're right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think when he's on the left, he's too isolated. I've always said that. When he plays as an inside forward in the front three, if you had Benny, Antonio, Bowen as a three-man attack, I think that's quite deadly, in my opinion. With three good players behind.
I think
you know
that's
what I mean?
not too bad. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Has he got to improve? Of course he has, but he's improved from last year, though, Mitch. That's the thing that I.
Has he?
He has. He scored 1 goal and got 6 assists last year. This year he's got 8 goals.
Yeah, he has improved in that. In that respect, yeah, he has. His goal scoring has improved massively.
And I don't understand.
His inconsistency is still poor, though.
Yeah, but I don't understand what the fan base want him to do. That makes sense. Like,
just be more consistent. I think not give the ball away as much. Be a bit more confident. Be a bit more willing to take players on.
Thing. Yeah,
it is a major thing. It's a major problem, and it's something that he has to sort out as well.
I agree.
I do think other players, as you say, have got away with murder this season. They produce poor game. No one wants to criticise Souček. Everyone just gives him a pass. I know I'm bringing him up again, but he plays bad game after bad game, and people just give him a pass because he wins headers and covers lots of ground.
Right, we're going to move on to this man, Andrei Yarmolenko. He's finally going to be leaving the club, but how will you assess his time at West Ham as long as this season?
Yeah, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. He has done all right. When he's played this season, he's actually done well. He scored some good goals, vital goals for us. Scored, I think, a couple of times in Europa League, in the group stages. Scored against Sevilla. Scored a great goal against Aston Villa. And he hasn't been horrific this season. I think, he's kept to what he's good at. Just keeping on the wing, passing it around, keep the ball forward, moving the ball forward quite well, and scoring 3 goals. My voice is in absolute bits, by the way. Sorry about that. I sound like a little girl. I'm not giving him a 5. I think a 6. I think is fair for him. And maybe a 5. No, for the games he's played, I can't say he's been bad, because he hasn't actually been bad. He's just been alright, and he scored some good goals for us, important goals. So I think a 6 is fair.
How would you, before I move on, how would you assess his time at West Ham? Give me a rating for his overall time at West Ham.
4.
Yeah.
Because, in terms of season by season consistency, he'd probably be like a 2 or 3. But he scored some massive goals for us, obviously Chelsea being the main one. And he has been injured a lot of it. So that, does also come into play a little bit. And it's been staying a living, unfortunately. But I'm not factoring that into consideration. I'm purely based off his performances. I think in terms of his time at West Ham, it has been disappointing. He hasn't gone away. He probably would have liked it to have gone. Yeah. And not me. I thought he probably would have done a better job, especially the way he started as well for us. Scoring against Man United, scoring against Everton. But I've got respect for Yarmolenko. He stayed professional during that time. He has received a ridiculous amount of criticism on social media, and for me, a bit more than he's probably deserved. But he stayed professional and he scored some important goals for us this season. So I've got nothing but respect for him, and I hope he does well wherever he goes next.
Fair enough, mate. Moving on to this man. Come up to the final few. Jared Bowen.
Again, I'd have to give this boy a 9, but it's not a good solid 9 like Rice is. It's just a 9 because even though he's been great, he's still again had some iffy games, not been as consistent as players like Rice. But his consistency still leveled up this season. His finishing has gone up a level last season and at the start of this season.
I think he started slow. He started slow, and he was missing chance after chance after chance. Then I remember a game. I think it was the Chelsea game. I remember the Wolves away game where he missed chance. Like he missed from 5 yards out. I think it was.
Yep, shocking that was.
And then he played Chelsea, and then he just turned it into a different level of a player. And ever since then, he's been absolutely phenomenal. What would you say has been his best game this season? The West Ham shirt.
There was a game. Obviously, I just can't think of it. You know what? It's going to wind me up now that I can't think of it. But if someone mentions some games, it'll probably come to mind. There was a game he completely controlled the game. It was exceptional. It was fairly recently, actually, like in the last couple of months. So I can't remember what it was, but it was great.
Norwich. He got 3 assists.
He was unbelievable that game. I think he might. Was it that game? It might have been that game actually. Yeah, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. He was unbelievable. And I said to you at the time he was my man of the match, didn't I? And he was like, "No, I don't know about that." But then he got you checked, he got the 3 assists. He's all round. Yeah, for me, his all round play that game was unbelievable. I think Norwich, I think it was exceptional. And all the people saying that it was only Norwich back then. Well, look now they've pulled some good results recently against decent sides. So bear that one in mind.
They did get slapped 5-0 at the end of the season. So you give him a 9 out of 10, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to this man, Mikel Antonio. This is going to be interesting. This one. This and Souček are the ones that I've been looking forward to all night because I remember having you on this channel and some of the times that Mickey's played, I think he's been dreadful, right, in certain games. But it'd be interesting to see what you think.
It's been a bit of an up and down season for Antonio, really. He's had 3 periods. Start was a massive peak, like Mount Everest, right to the top. Couldn't really do any better, really. His goal record per game was exceptional, and he was good going forward as well. Like against Newcastle away, he put out an incredibly lovely delivery to Benrahma, like whipped in cross to Benrahma for him to score the first goal of the season for him. His all-round play was great. He was scoring goals. It was exceptional. From like November time, he really started going down. I think it was about November. He got the injury as well. Got an injury. We played Bowen up top for a bit, and then when he came back, didn't hit the heights what he hit before. Didn't hit a barn door. And then since then, his goal record's been really poor. But his all-round play was shocking during that time as well. He was struggling to go forward. He looked slow. Wasn't pressuring any defenders or goalkeepers for the high press. His passing was horrific, taking long-range efforts. Had a bit of an ego at the time, it seemed as well. And then I think for the last 2 months, I would say he's been still not scoring, but he's been slightly better. He has, I think, improved in the last couple of months where his all-round play has been a bit better. For example, City comes to mind last week where I thought he'd done really well against City, but didn't come up with a goal. And then last week as well against Brighton, where I thought he'd done a good job and that goal was exceptional. His goal record in his calendar he ain't been pretty, but in the last couple of months he's done much better. Overall for the season, I'd give him a 7. I think he's had a decent season, but still a lot of inconsistencies and still needs replacing. And that 7 is really, really massively being carried by his incredible start to the season. Because if he didn't have that start to the season, we'd be talking 5s, mate, probably.
I agree. I do agree with you on that. I think he started off well. He had he scored in Europe. He looked quite decent, and then come towards into the new year, he scored 2 goals, 3 goals
But
in
he scored
5
three
months.
goals in all comps since then.
Yeah.
It's not good
So
enough, is it?
yeah, it ain't, mate. So I do agree with you. Moving on to the final rating of the season before I get a couple of the questions
Film
to
o'clock,
Mitchell.
I'm always considerate. I'm even considerate towards Souček, mate. I love Souček.
But do you love this man, David Moyes?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, go on, mate.
A
Take
few
it away.
minor dats. I'm not going to lie. I think February time as well, after the transfer window, I was handing the bloke because I do, and I still believe that he's to blame mostly for
Yeah.
the lack of transfers coming through the door in January. Well, I say lack of, none of.
Yeah.
And the little inconsistent performances we've had this season in the later spells. I do say I think he had a part to play against Brighton. I think he should have changed it against Brighton a bit more. A few other games as well, February, March time, where
Has he
there's a lot
been
of games.
has he been too stubborn this year in regards of the youth players? In
Yes,
regards of keep
glad you
playing
brought
the same players over and over again and not rotating, not
that up.
like people keep saying about Vlasic. Should Vlasic have played more? Should Crow have played a game or more? Like, has he been a bit too stubborn this year in
Yeah,
certain aspects?
I think so. I think that's been his probably biggest downfall, and I think that's just Moyes and how he is. And fair play, he's worked for us this season. I still think we could have done a bit better job if he managed the way he had, but also added that bit of what's the word? Uh, Proactiveness to his
Yeah,
game, where he thought about different options more, and the youth. Because I've said I think Vlasic deserved probably maybe a little bit more game time. Crowd deserved more game time for me, in my opinion. He's still been shit nonetheless. And the youth players, Aleix Baptiste, Ashby, Longelo, they're the four. Forget about the striker. What's his name? Fucking
Perkins.
Perkins. Forget about him. I don't think he's good enough. He will never come good at West Ham. He'll be playing League One or League Two for the next few years. But I think them four players, the defenders, I do think they've got potential future ahead of them, and they look like
Yeah,
good players. I think for the fact that Ashby and Longelo get lots of goals and assists from left back shows that they're good going forward as well, and that's always promising. Baptiste, I think, is the real star, and the fact he's been given no game time in the Premier League this season is a shame. I know he's only young, but I still would have liked him to have played more games. Games like Norwich, he could have been brought on for the last 10 minutes.
Hmm.
Games like Kidderminster, unless I said or Baptiste should have been starting alongside one of the starting experienced centre backs, to give him a hand. They should have been incorporated better this season because they haven't been incorporated at all, really, besides from Zagreb. And by then, he just chucks all the youth players on. So that's been my main disappointment with Moyes and I think stubbornness sometimes his substitutions, leaving too late. But besides from that, he's carried us this season. He's had an exceptional season with us. He's got the absolute maximum out of almost all the players. He's done really well at managing them. And yeah, I can't say that. Dawson said as well. I think it was was it Dawson? Yeah, Dawson said to Ben Foster, I think a couple of days ago, and Ben Foster came out on his podcast and said Moyes is great when it comes to man management with the players, and he said that he knows when to give players off and give them time to relax. And I think that's where the respect and the hard work comes in from our players, because he's got such respect from the other players.
yeah.
And that's all down to Moyes. So because of that, for what we've done this season, where we finished with the squad we've got, I would give him. I'm gonna give him an 8. I'm gonna give him an 8.
8 out of 10 for Mitchell for that. Scott's asking in the comment section, are we going to rate Mitchell after his player rated? You may rate Mitchell for his performance on E20 Zone TV. So please put your comments in there.
Everyone rate me, please.
But I'm going to ask you a few questions, though, Mitch. First one is the best game you've seen live this year.
Live
Yeah.
at the game for me, the most enjoyable experience. Leeds away. If I went to the Villa game, which was I think just after that, I would have probably said Villa, but I didn't get tickets for that game. I'd say Villa away. I thought Villa away was. Leeds away. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. The whole day, that experience.
Yeah.
Really enjoyable. Nice and warm as well up there in Leeds. It was really good. For me, Leeds.
Worst defeat this season live.
Worst defeat, probably Brentford. Brentford comes to mind. Leeds, I think at home.
Mm,
Um, Man United was a real punch in the gut
yeah.
when Noble missed that penalty and Lingard scored against us. Um, it's bad to say this, but if Noble scored that penalty, we'd be above Man United. We'd have got Europa League.
Yeah.
That's food for thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Mitch Gibson 11, mate. I'm gonna get emotional here. Um,
Best. My next question is though, Mitch. So you're saying what? Brentford is your worst defeat, or Man United?
what that I've seen live or just
Yeah,
in general? I've seen
live.
live Brentford for me, yeah.
Mm. What's the best game that you've seen from one individual player this season live?
But I'd say just what Mark Brown said there, just really quickly, I just want to address. We said Mitchell commentary pretty much spot on. Still can't have same Suchek rating as Masuaku. I understand that. He's
Mm.
probably overall, had a bit of impact. I'm talking about the games where, it's only because Suchek's had a longer period,
Yeah.
longer spell, and over time he hasn't improved and he's still producing the same shit. Whereas Masuaku hasn't played many games. He still scored, I think one goal and had an all right one or two games, Masuaku. Where
Mm.
Suchek has had, same. He's played a lot more games, but he's only had, I think, one or two good games, I could say.
Yeah.
Um,
But but what's your best performance of a player that you've seen live?
I can't actually say, to be honest. Right, there's probably like loads of games with Rice. He's probably got Rice in. I could say, I think Ben Rama against Leicester was great. Antonio against Leicester. Bowen against Norwich. Bowen against City. Rice against fucking everyone this year.
Yeah.
Aviola against Sevilla, basically saved us the game. Dawson in big games this season. Zuma against Liverpool. Fornals against Liverpool.
Mm.
I couldn't really name one, mate, if I'm being honest. I think there's been so many good performances. I'd find it hard to find one individual great performance, which I thought really stood out.
Mm.
If I went back
Mm.
and maybe looked at all the goals of the season, and then it would spring to mind.
Mm.
But unfortunately, I can't think of one.
Mm. And finally, what do you want to see happen next season in regards of the way us moving forward as a club?
I want to really push on. I think there's no excuse for us not to. Looks like Lingard could be coming through the door. Looks like Aviola could be signing a permanent deal. And this is all early news as well. So it's good that we kind of, we are looking to do things early. We still need quite a few players. Obviously, players out the door now, like Yarmolenko, Fredericks, Krau. Good to see Connor Coventry come back. For me, that straight away. Doesn't matter he's played in League One. He's got more quality on the ball than Souček, without a shadow of a doubt. For me, straight away, start of the season, if we don't sign any midfielders, which is a possibility because we might prioritise left back, centre back, striker, and left wing more. Which if we do, then I think Coventry's the player that really goes alongside Rice next season.
Yeah.
If that doesn't happen. So it was good. I'm really excited to see Coventry come back, which I think a lot of
Mm.
people have forgotten as well. I just think we need loads of signs, mate. I do, and I do believe we'll make it enough for us to have another good season next season. So I'm excited for next season. I'm excited for this transfer window as well. I'm a proper little gossip girl when it comes to it. I love reading it. I love like going on West Ham News Now, and I'm with ex West Ham United employees Patreon as well. Listen to his podcasts. I do like it all. I do like all the rumours, and I don't care if people say, "Oh, come on, it's only a rumour." Don't over exaggerate. I do get excited. I'm not gonna lie. If I hear, for example, Neymar's next to West Ham, I'm gonna go fucking crazy. I can't help it. I do get excited, but just because sometimes I imagine things. I imagine Neymar linking up with like Rice and just making beautiful children on the pitch together.
Mm. I understand what you're saying, mate. I really do. And finally, yeah, the final question of the evening before I can wrap up. have you found coming on to this channel?
Pardon? Sorry?
How have you found coming onto this channel, Mitch?
Really enjoyed it, James. Really enjoyed
Yeah.
it. Thanks, mate. Yeah. I love coming on here, give my opinions. It's been a way because in the last few months I've been going on West Ham Fan TV because that's just other reasons. But this is kind of my other this is my other way to get my voice out there, and I've really enjoyed talking to you, and the others as well, like Lucas and Athers. I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it, and just discussing with other people, having little cunty trolls on here as well, having a little go. But you know what? It's still fun and games. I've got no animosity towards anyone. I enjoy it. I like it. And I've really enjoyed coming in, mate. And hopefully next season it goes just as well, and if not better.
Mm. Yeah, listen, I've enjoyed having you on this channel, mate. And I must admit, people love you, people troll you, people don't like you. They don't like me, but they don't like us, some people. But I've got to admit, since you've been on this channel, you're a breath of fresh air. You're real.
Thank you.
And that's what I like to hear. Like, I like to hear people who won't sit on the fence and won't defend the indefendable. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, do you know what I mean? It is what it is at the end of the day. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there at that. That's been Mitchell's player ratings. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. He's done for the summer. He will be back next year along with the others. But this comment here. I love James, but I'm not too keen on Mitch the bitch. People are so harsh on you, bruv. Honestly, I don't know why.
It's because I like Moyes. That's why he can't. Don't like it. Oh, look at the 8 come back. Look, oh no, not this Mitchell geezer again. Buster Cherry.
Oh mate, right, you're getting triggered. You know what I mean? People.
I don't know why.
And I'm going to end up with this comment. This is the final comment. Phil says, "Please come back, Mitch." So, you know what I mean? He wants you. He wants you back next year. You know what I'm saying? But that is enough from Mitchell. That's enough from me tonight. As I say, please smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. And I will be back during the week for another video with one of the other lads if I can get hold of them. So, yeah, that's been Mitchell's season review and ratings. Souček got an hammering. Bye for now.